God's chosen one, I don't know where you are right now, maybe lying in bed, driving in silence, sitting with your phone in hand, but I know this: you didn't find this message by accident. This isn't just another video. This isn't just another voice. This is a divine summons, and you have been called into this moment. Heaven has pressed pause on everything around you to deliver one sacred command. It's time to tell you everything. Have you ever wondered why your prayers seem to echo unanswered? Why your faith feels like it's under siege while others walk in ease? Why every door you knock on seems to remain sealed, even as others walk freely into favor? Chosen one, you're not imagining it. You're not forgotten, and you're certainly not being punished. You are being positioned. Stop scrolling. Stay with me. What you're feeling right now, that shift in your spirit, that warmth in your chest, that tightening in your throat, that's not emotion. That's the Holy Spirit confirming that this message was predestined for you. Your steps have been supernaturally guided here. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, today, because now is the appointed time. Just 3 nights ago, I was awakened by a vision so intense it shook me out of deep sleep, and in that moment I heard God speak clearly. Now is the time to tell them everything. This message is not general, it's not vague, it's precise, personal, and prophetic. It's been entrusted to me for you, for the one who has carried more than most, for the one who's questioned silently, "Why me, Lord?" through countless sleepless nights. Listen carefully. The divine timeline is shifting. Heaven's windows are cracking open, and this isn't a distant event. It's happening now. And you, yes you, were chosen to receive this message before the next spiritual rotation unfolds. Look around. Can you feel it? That tingling sensation in your fingertips, that sudden peace in your chest, that whisper in your soul that says, "Pay attention." That is divine confirmation. That is your spirit remembering something heaven never forgot. If this message is already resonating in your spirit, I want you to comment 999 below, right now. In biblical numerology, 9 represents finality, and 999 signifies a divinely ordained new beginning. When you type that number, you're not just engaging with a video, you're aligning yourself with what heaven is about to release over your life. It is your first prophetic act of agreement. But before I share the revelation that God has entrusted to me, a truth that will explain your battles, your delays, your spiritual weight, I want to pause and thank every one of you who has supported this ministry through Super Thanks. Your generosity is more than financial. It's spiritual, it's prophetic, it's a seed of faith sown into sacred soil. And because of your kindness, these messages are reaching souls across the world who felt alone in their calling. If you feel led to support, the button is right below. But whether you give or simply share this message, please know from the depths of my heart, I am grateful you're here. And now, here we are, just you, me, and the presence of the living God. Heaven is watching, angels are leaning in, your past has brought you here, your purpose is standing at the door, and God is saying with clarity and certainty, your fated hour has arrived. So are you ready to hear what God has been waiting to tell you all along? God's chosen ones, God says, it's time to tell you everything. Chosen one, have you ever walked into a room and felt like something unseen was already waiting for you? Have you paused mid-thought, sensing that your life has always had a hidden purpose you can't quite explain? What if those feelings weren't just intuition? What if they were spiritual confirmations? This isn't just a message. This isn't just another video. This is a divine interruption, a holy summons. Right now, everything that tried to steal your focus, every digital distraction, every noise of the world, it all had to bow. Because heaven has declared, now is the time. Why do you think the struggles you've endured were so tailored? Why did it feel like life kept pressing on you when others floated freely? Could it be that your journey required fire, not to destroy you, but to forge you? Let's pause on that. In Esther 4:14, Mordecai asked a question that echoes in your life right now. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? This wasn't just Esther's destiny. It's yours. You weren't just born. You were positioned. Heaven didn't randomly send you here. You were assigned. Last night in prayer, God whispered something profound. He said, the wait wasn't punishment. It was preparation. The fire wasn't meant to burn you. It was meant to reveal what couldn't be destroyed. Chosen one, what if your entire life has been heaven's secret training ground? In Jeremiah 1:5, God says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. That verse isn't poetic, it's prophetic. Do you feel something inside you rising right now? That's not imagination. That's alignment. Look at your hands. These are not ordinary hands. They were built to construct what others don't even have the vision to imagine. Look at your heart. That depth you carry isn't weakness, it's divine architecture. And look at your scars. What others call damage, heaven calls design. Let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed how deeply you feel things? How the world's chaos affects you more than most? How you sense things before they happen? You've been different all your life. Not because something was wrong, but because something was right. You carry a mantle. That means your life was never meant to look like anyone else's. And that explains the solitude, the pressure, the constant inner war. But you're not alone in this. Others walked similar paths long before you. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness, not because he was forgotten, but because he was being prepared. Joseph was betrayed and locked in prison, not because God lied, but because the vision needed pressure. David, anointed as king, fled into caves, not because he was forsaken, but because he was being refined. Even Elijah, after calling down fire from heaven, collapsed under a tree and wanted to give up. So I ask you, chosen one, is it possible that what you saw as abandonment was really alignment? These biblical figures weren't favored because life was easy. They were chosen because they could carry weight, and so can you. Think of Romans 8:16. The Spirit Himself testifies with our spirit that we are God's children. That's why your spirit never let you settle. It always knew. That stirring you've carried since you were a child. That sense of mission, that's heaven's fingerprint. But it didn't end with Bible stories. God keeps writing through people even today. Take Harriet Tubman, born into slavery, who followed divine visions to lead hundreds to freedom through the Underground Railroad. People said she was mad. She said, I always told God, I'm going to hold steady on you and you've got to see me through. Her life was a divine assignment, just like yours. Or Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist imprisoned in Nazi death camps. He lost everything, family, freedom, dignity, yet said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. His book, Man's Search for Meaning, has transformed millions. Why? Because the chosen are forged in fire. What about Terry Fox, a young Canadian who, after losing a leg to cancer, ran over 3,000 miles across his country to raise awareness? He said, I just wish people would realize that anything's possible if you try. Was that strength his alone, or divine fuel? And then there's Sojourner Truth, who escaped slavery and became a preacher and women's rights advocate. When she spoke, people trembled. Why? Because her voice carried heaven's fire. So again, chosen one, do you really think it's coincidence that your path has felt so intense? Or is it divine evidence? The enemy didn't attack you randomly. He saw your blueprint. He saw what you would become once you realized who you truly are. That's why disappointment, betrayal, depression, and fatigue became his weapons. He wasn't afraid of your past. He was terrified of your future. And yet, you're still here. Why? Because heaven preserved you. While you were wondering if your prayers were being ignored, angels were being dispatched. Every tear was collected. Every sleepless night was documented. Every unanswered cry was not ignored. It was stored. Let me show you another mystery. In Revelation 5:8 it says, "The prayers of the saints are kept in golden bowls before the throne." That means not one of your cries vanished. They became incense before God. Right now, as you read these words, a spiritual court is in session. The verdict is in. The silence has lifted. And God is saying, you are ready. But are you? Can you sense it? That tension in the air, that stillness filled with meaning. That's not anxiety. That's activation. You are being summoned into divine alignment. The season of waiting is over. This is not just inspiration, it's instruction. Think about this. Have you ever felt a strange sense of being watched? Not in fear, but in awareness. That was your spiritual guardians, your heavenly witnesses. Your life has always been under observation, not by critics, but by angels, ancestors, and forces you can't yet see. Why? Because you matter. Isaiah 61 declares, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." That's not poetic suggestion, that's divine command. Your light has come. Now the question is, what will you do with it? Will you keep shrinking, doubting, second-guessing, or will you finally step into what's already been written in heaven's book? Every rejection was a redirection. Every betrayal was a blessing in disguise. Every closed door wasn't failure. It was filtration. The time for hiding is over. You were not designed to dim your light just because others feel more comfortable in the dark. Chosen one, the next few minutes could alter the course of your entire journey. Not because I'm speaking, but because heaven is revealing. The time for subtle hints is over. The time for divine clarity is now. So I ask you, are you ready to receive what has been hidden from you for far too long? Why has your life carried so much weight? Why have you felt so misunderstood, so isolated, so different, even in the presence of people who love you? Could it be that what you thought was pain was really prophecy? What I'm about to share isn't just an explanation, it's a revelation, a lifting of the veil, and once it's lifted, nothing will ever be the same again. This truth has been deliberately withheld from you, not because God wanted you blind, but because the enemy feared what you'd become if you ever saw clearly. He feared the moment of awakening, this moment, and that moment has now arrived. Let me ask you something bold. Have you ever felt like your trials were disproportionately difficult? Like you were born into spiritual warfare? Like every time you tried to rise, something tried to shut you down before you could even breathe? That's not coincidence. That's not bad luck. That's not weakness. That's your marking. Before your first cry, before your parents held you, before your name was spoken in a hospital room, heaven already knew who you were. You weren't simply chosen, you were marked. In Jeremiah 1:5, the Lord says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations." That wasn't just spoken to Jeremiah. That was spoken into the eternal DNA of every chosen one, including you. What if the moments that broke your heart were actually sharpening your discernment? What if the delays were heaven's way of protecting you from doors that would have destroyed you? Have you ever sensed something in your spirit that your mind couldn't explain? Like you could feel when people were lying, like you could see behind smiles, like you noticed patterns others ignored. That's not paranoia. That's prophetic awareness. That's part of being marked. Remember David, the forgotten shepherd boy. Even his own father didn't believe in him. When Samuel came to anoint the next king of Israel, David wasn't even invited to the ceremony. And yet, God had already chosen him. Why? Because the world saw a boy, but heaven saw a king. Look at your life. Haven't there been moments when help showed up just in time? When a miracle disguised as coincidence saved you? When supernatural strength filled you at your weakest? That's your marking. Heaven was never absent, just silent, because the timing had to be perfect. The enemy recognizes what you carry, even if you don't. That's why your childhood was so turbulent. That's why rejection followed you like a shadow. That's why you've wrestled with feeling too much for others. Because you carry spiritual weight. And the enemy has tried since day one to convince you that your depth is a defect, when in fact it's your divine signature. Let me remind you of Gideon. Marked to lead, yet found hiding in a winepress, crippled by fear. But God called him a mighty warrior before Gideon had done anything mighty. Why? Because God doesn't label you by your current state. He speaks to your destiny. It's time you stop apologizing for the weight you carry. Have you ever been in a room full of people and still felt alone? Had insights no one else understood? Cried tears so deep they didn't even make it to your face? They just lived in your chest? That's not isolation. That's consecration. You're not ordinary, so your life can't be either. Even now, some of you reading this may be feeling heat in your body, tears in your eyes, chills on your skin. That's not emotional reaction. That's recognition. Your spirit is saying, "This is me. This is who I am." In Romans 11:29, it says, "For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable." Heaven never took back what it placed in you, even if life tried to bury it. Let me share a few real-life stories with you. Proof that marking doesn't always look glamorous, but it's always undeniable. Frederick Douglass, born into slavery, taught himself to read and write in secret. That knowledge became his weapon against injustice, leading him to become one of the most powerful abolitionist voices in history. He was beaten, silenced, and hunted, but he was marked. Corrie ten Boom, a quiet Dutch woman during World War II, hid Jews in her home and ended up in a Nazi concentration camp. Her family died there. She didn't. She lived to preach forgiveness across the world, even forgiving her captors. Why? Because she was marked. Nick Vujicic, born with no arms or legs, wanted to die as a child. Today, he speaks in front of millions, declaring God's love and overcoming despair with joy. Why? Because his body wasn't a mistake. It was a marking. Bethany Hamilton, a teenage surfer, lost her arm in a shark attack. Most would have quit. She didn't. She returned to surfing professionally and inspired the world. Her loss became her platform. Why? Because her assignment wasn't over. It was only beginning. Stop measuring yourself by what others see. Stop doubting yourself when people misunderstand you. Stop retreating because others don't recognize your value. Heaven sees you, and it always has. 1 Peter 2:9 reminds us, "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession." That's not future tense. That's now. Even your flaws were factored into your mission. Moses stuttered. Esther was orphaned. Joseph was enslaved. Yet all were elevated. Why? Because what disqualifies you in man's eyes magnifies you in God's. At this very moment, chosen one, heaven's scrolls are being opened. Assignments once sealed are being unlocked. The marking you've carried since the womb is now being activated at a higher frequency. Can you feel the tension of transition? That's because the timeline has shifted. What's coming will require you to remember who you are, not who pain made you, not who people labeled you, but who God designed you to be. So I need to ask you, and I ask this from heaven's courtroom to your soul, are you ready to walk in what's always been yours? Are you ready to stop hiding your intensity and use it as your compass? Are you ready to lead, even if it means walking alone for a while? Are you ready to walk into rooms not seeking validation, but bringing transformation? Because once you accept that you were marked before birth, you can never go back to living small again. No more shrinking, no more second-guessing, no more delaying. If something is rising in your spirit right now, if your heart is thundering and your soul is saying, "This is it, this is me," then I invite you to do something powerful. Declare it, say it aloud, comment it if you must. Write it down and tape it to your mirror. Let the words echo through the air. I receive it. I was marked, and I will walk in it. Because, chosen one, this is your moment. Heaven didn't just whisper it. It orchestrated everything in your life to bring you here, to the place of recognition, remembrance, and release. The marking has always been there, but now it's being activated. Will you finally embrace it? Chosen one, there's something stirring in the spirit right now, and if you're feeling it in your chest, your skin, your breath, it's not in your head, it's in your calling. You see, the marking on your life is not theoretical, it's not poetic, it's prophetic. And in this season, it's being activated in ways that will shatter your expectations. Doors that were sealed shut, doors that generations before you could never walk through, are about to swing open. Provision that felt eternally delayed is being supernaturally released, and that purpose you sensed from childhood that felt so distant and unreachable is now standing in front of you, waiting to be claimed. But with marking comes something most people never speak about: responsibility. You've been entrusted with more because you were designed to carry more. This isn't a punishment, it's a sacred burden. And while others may get by with minimal effort or shallow purpose, you, chosen one, are held to a higher standard because of what heaven has hidden within you. Have you ever paused to wonder why your path is harder than others? Why you seem to walk through fire while they dance through fields? Why the pressure, the expectations, and the heartbreak seem to visit your house more than most? It's not because God forgot you, it's because God is counting on you. You're not random, you're not overlooked, you're not a product of your environment, you're a product of divine intention. And right now heaven isn't asking whether you feel ready. The question echoing across eternity is this: will you finally step into everything you were marked to be? Let's be honest, you've likely looked around at others and wondered, why is my life heavier? When you carry spiritual burdens that others collapse under, when you keep families together while your own heart is shattering, when you carry responsibilities without applause or appreciation, don't let anyone convince you that's weakness. That's divine selection. There's something religious systems often forget to teach. God doesn't choose the most convenient vessels. He chooses the ones who can endure the fire. Let's take Joseph. His own brothers, his blood, betrayed him, throwing him into a pit, selling him into slavery. He was lied about, imprisoned, forgotten. But Genesis 50:20 shatters the silence. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Joseph's pain was not a detour, it was a divine setup. And consider David. Before the crown, before the throne, came the cave. Hunted like an animal by Saul, betrayed by allies, David cried out in Psalm 13:1, "How long, O Lord? Will you forget me forever?" That doesn't sound like someone living a charmed life. It sounds like someone being prepared for eternal purpose. He wasn't chosen for ease, he was chosen for impact. Now look at Moses, a prince turned fugitive. 40 years of silence in the wilderness. Did you think he never asked, "Why this path, God?" Of course he did, but Exodus 3:7 reveals the beauty of pain and delay. The Lord said, "I have indeed seen the misery of my people. I have heard them crying out. I am concerned about their suffering." God wasn't ignoring Moses, he was forging him. And it's the same with you. You've been the one to hold things together when everything else was falling apart. When families fractured, you became the glue. When friends betrayed you, you forgave. When people leaned on you and never returned the favor, you endured. But why? Because you're not a wall, you're the foundation. And foundations don't get praised. They get buried deep so that others can stand tall. I know you've been misunderstood. Your strength has made people believe you didn't need help. Your consistency made others overlook your exhaustion. But here's the truth. The world couldn't see what heaven sees. The weight you carry, the wisdom you offer, the wounds you've survived, all of it points to your divine identity. Let me tell you something hard to hear, but crucial to know. This is the mark of the chosen. This is why your spirit never fully fit into the patterns of this world. This is why you always felt like an outsider, even in your own family. This is why you notice things, sense things, carry things that no one else around you seems to understand. You are not broken, you are set apart. But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession. 1 Peter 2:9. You weren't built to blend in. You were engineered to lead, to carry, to withstand, and to rise. When God needs someone he can trust with sacred responsibility, he calls you. When crisis breaks out, when battles erupt, when no one knows what to do, somehow it's always you that people look to. But here's what they don't realize. The strength they admire was forged in silence, in nights of crying out to God, in private wars no one saw but heaven. Now, let me challenge you with something that might shake you. What if every tear you cried in secret was never wasted? What if the heartbreak, the betrayal, the stress, the midnight prayers? What if all of it was preparation? What if you've been building the character and credibility required to carry a blessing so heavy that it couldn't be rushed? Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Look at Florence Nightingale. She wasn't just a nurse, she was a reformer. In a time when women weren't expected to lead, she transformed battlefield medicine by going where no one else would. Why? Because she was marked to bring healing in places of horror. Or Winston Churchill, ridiculed and pushed aside before leading Britain through its darkest hour. He had years of political failure, but when history called for courage, he rose. Not because he was perfect, because he was prepared. Think of Serena Williams, underestimated, criticized, judged, not just for being a woman in sport, but for being black, powerful, and unapologetic. Her strength wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. And look at Stephen Hawking. His body deteriorated, his mind expanded. What others saw as limitation, heaven used as a platform. His voice, digitized though it was, carried truths that reshaped how humanity sees the universe. Now, chosen one, look at your life. Can you finally see the pattern? The pain wasn't random, the silence wasn't neglect, the delay wasn't denial, it was refinement. Which brings us to this prophetic moment. Have you ever felt like you've been circling the same mountain again and again, like your prayers never move the needle, like the walls standing between you and breakthrough are made of iron? Let me tell you something that will shake your soul. In just 7 days from this moment, your reality is about to shift. This isn't just hype, it's divine pattern. In Joshua 6:3-5, the Israelites stood before Jericho, a city surrounded by impossible walls. God didn't give them weapons, he gave them a timeline. March around the city once for 6 days. On the 7th day, march around it 7 times. Then shout. And what happened? The walls crumbled. not because of human force, but because of divine obedience. Chosen one, do you realize what this means for you? Your walls, those emotional barriers, financial strongholds, relationship cycles, generational wounds, have been surrounded by your prayers. And now, your 7th day is coming. But let me ask you something crucial. What if the reason your breakthrough hasn't come isn't because God is delaying, but because you've been circling without obedience? How long will you carry a weight that you were meant to release? How many more nights will you question your worth when God already confirmed it? This is your moment. Not to beg, but to believe. Not to ask, but to activate. Chosen one, what you are entering now is not simply the turning of pages on a man-made calendar. It's the beginning of a divine cycle, a spiritual rotation marked not by clocks, but by covenant. These next 7 days are not ordinary. They carry the weight of prophetic alignment. Just as God created the heavens and the earth in 7 days, He is now preparing to recreate the landscape of your life. And somewhere in your spirit, if you're quiet enough to hear it, you already know this to be true. That stirring in your chest, that stillness cloaked in urgency. It's not just emotion, it's confirmation. Something eternal is taking place. Look closer. Can you feel the acceleration? Things in the spiritual realm aren't just shifting, they're colliding, converging, moving at divine speed. What was stuck is now being loosed. What was delayed is being dismantled. What stood as immovable, like the walls of Jericho, is about to crumble at the sound of your obedience. And the only question now is, will you move in sync with this moment? Let me speak plainly. That medical report that's haunted your nights, prepare for it to change. That prodigal child you've been interceding for, get ready. God's calling them home. That mountain of debt or financial drought that's made your faith feel foolish, it's about to collapse. Why? Because Habakkuk 2:3 was not a suggestion, it was a divine law. For still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. Your appointed time is no longer in the distance. It's here. But I must be honest with you, not everyone will experience this shift. Not because God plays favorites, but because not everyone will respond. Some people will scroll past this message as if it were another video. But you were drawn here. You were summoned. And the fact that you've stayed with this word this long means your spirit recognizes something eternal is being spoken. Remember the story of Elijah and his servant in 1 Kings 18. After a long drought, Elijah tells his servant to go look toward the sea. He goes once, nothing, twice, still nothing. Again, 6 times, nothing but sky. But on the 7th time the servant reports, a cloud as small as a man's hand is rising from the sea. That cloud, tiny, insignificant to anyone else, was enough to bring a deluge that broke a 3-year drought. And I ask you now, chosen one, are you watching for your cloud? Are you sensing your shift? Or are you about to give up on the 6th look? There's someone reading this who's weary. You've prayed until your voice cracked. You've believed when belief became painful. You've watched others move ahead while you've remained stuck in stillness. And you're tired. So deeply tired. But the Lord says to you, your walls are about to fall. And when they do, you won't just be free, you'll be launched. Because when the Israelites shouted on the 7th day, they didn't just defeat a city, they stepped into their promised inheritance. And so will you. But there is one act of alignment required right now. Grab your phone, your journal, your computer, wherever you are, and type the date you're reading this. That timestamp is not just a comment, it is a spiritual seal. When you write the date, you're saying to the heavens, I agree, I align, I receive. This is not performative, it is prophetic. You are anchoring your countdown in time. When Joshua led Israel around Jericho, their steps were not random, They were measured, obedient, intentional. Your written declaration is your first step. It's your trumpet blast. It's your faith in motion. Let me ask you with trembling reverence, can you afford to go another 7 days without breakthrough? Can your heart endure another cycle of the same unanswered prayers, the same weary mornings, the same quiet cries that no one sees? I didn't think so. Because if you're still reading this, it means heaven has marked this day for you. This isn't just another scroll on your screen. This is your divine appointment, written in eternity long before your birth certificate existed. Let's pause for a moment to explore something crucial. Delay is not always a sign of waiting. It can be a form of disobedience. I know that's hard to hear, but delay is often a silent rebellion cloaked in spiritual language. We say we're waiting for confirmation, but in truth, sometimes we're hesitating because we fear what full obedience might cost. In Esther 4:14, Mordecai challenges Esther with these words, "For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Did you catch it? God's mission will prevail, with or without you. The question isn't whether he will move. The question is whether you'll move with him and reap the reward. Let me bring this home with a story from real life. In my church years ago, there was a woman named Martha. She was 78 years old and had felt called for decades to start a ministry for widows. But she kept saying, "I'm not ready," or "maybe after the holidays." Finally, 3 weeks before she suffered a massive stroke, she started the group. 3 weeks. Today, someone else leads what she birthed in urgency, but it was meant to be her crown. She watches in silence, tears falling down her face. Don't let delay rob you of your reward. And this isn't rare. I've watched people miss divine windows because they asked God for signs, then ignored them. People pray for clarity, but freeze when clarity comes. They plead for a word, but hesitate when the word demands action. Chosen one, the door God is opening for you now will not stay open forever. Will you walk through, or will someone else finish what was meant to be your legacy? We see this in Scripture with Moses. When God called him at the burning bush, Moses gave excuses. "I'm not eloquent, send someone else." God was angry, and Aaron ended up sharing the calling. What should have been Moses's alone became a shared destiny. When you delay, you dilute. When you hesitate, you hand over part of your inheritance. Now, I'm going to ask you to do something tangible, something prophetic. Take a piece of paper. At the top, write today's date. Underneath it, in bold letters, write these 3 words: no more delay. This isn't a motivational slogan. This is your agreement with heaven. When you write it, you are breaking every internal vow of hesitation. You are telling God, if you say move, I will move. If you say speak, I will speak. No more second guessing, no more excuses, no more fear disguised as wisdom. Let's be clear, when you align with divine timing, things begin to happen fast. What you chased for years will begin to chase you. Provision, clarity, healing, relationships, all of it aligns with movement. But if you continue to delay, if you continue to hesitate when heaven is calling, you begin to train your spirit to ignore God's voice. And eventually, the voice you keep ignoring becomes the voice you can no longer hear. Let me take you deeper into this with one final story, someone you may not expect. Vincent van Gogh. He painted over 2,000 works of art, most of which he never sold in his lifetime. He died thinking he was a failure. But what if he'd never painted at all because no one was buying? The world would have lost brilliance. You may feel unseen now, but your obedience to God's timing isn't about applause today. It's about fulfilling something eternal. And let's not forget Amelia Earhart, who was told flying was too dangerous for women. She didn't wait for perfect conditions. She stepped into the unknown and changed history. Her story teaches us obedience rarely feels safe, but it always shifts the world. Chosen one, this is no longer about information, it's about decision. You are standing at the riverbank like the Israelites before the Jordan. You can either stay dry and stuck, or you can step in and watch the water part. Your 7-day countdown starts now, not next week, not after you think about it. Right now, mark the date, write the words, sound your trumpet, because what's about to fall isn't just a wall. It's every lie that told you you're too late, you're not enough, this isn't for you. Those walls are coming down, and when they do, you won't just walk into promise. You'll walk into purpose fulfilled. Chosen one, let's make something unmistakably clear. The choice is now yours. What you decide to do in the next 24 hours may shape what God does through you in the next 24 years. Yes, it's that serious. The heavens are leaning in, waiting to see if you'll finally rise into the royal identity that has always belonged to you. No more delay, no more doubt, no more disguising yourself in false humility when God has already crowned you with divine purpose. Let me ask you something that may rattle your foundation. Who told you that you were ordinary? Who convinced you that you were just here to survive, to get by, to hope for scraps while others feast? That voice didn't come from God, it came from the enemy. His greatest deception wasn't convincing you that God isn't real. His greatest deception was making royalty believe they're beggars, and it worked, until now. Look at me in the spirit and hear this like your life depends on it, because it does. You're not just surviving this life. You're not limping through existence hoping heaven will pity you. You're not here by accident, nor are you sustained by chance. You are a child of divine descent, a walking expression of God's intention. When you were born, the angels did not whisper, they shouted, not because of your perfection, but because of your position. They knew something about you that you've forgotten. You carry the very DNA of the divine. For too long, you've lived beneath your birthright. You've accepted struggle as your identity, scarcity as your normal, and delay as your portion. But God is saying to you with thunderous clarity, enough. Did David approach Goliath with a beggar's mindset? Did Esther risk her life before the king out of survival instinct? Number. They moved because they remembered who they were. David remembered he was anointed. Esther remembered she was positioned. And you? You must remember that you are marked. Romans 8:15 declares it, "For you did not receive a spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you received a spirit of adoption through which we cry, Abba, Father." This verse doesn't just describe your freedom. It demands a shift in how you see yourself. You're not a slave hoping to be noticed. You are a child of God, entitled not by merit, but by inheritance. How many blessings have you watched pass by, not because they weren't meant for you, but because you didn't feel worthy enough to reach? Think deeply. When was the last time God tried to give you something, but you talked yourself out of it? That opportunity, that relationship, that platform, that healing. Did you shrink from it thinking, this can't be for me? That mindset must break now, because it's been costing you more than you know. Let's get brutally honest. Your identity crisis hasn't just affected your spiritual life, it's affected everything. Your health, because stress and shame have weakened your body. Your finances, because you've operated from scarcity. Your relationships, because you couldn't accept love you didn't believe you deserved. Your purpose, because you've sabotaged doors before they even opened. But here's the truth that changes everything. When you finally embrace who God says you are, the natural world begins to respond to your authority. Mountains tremble, doors unlock, healing quickens, provision flows, not because your outer life changes, but because your inner stance shifts. You're no longer begging for blessings, you're walking in them. This isn't positive thinking or manifestation. This is kingdom identity. You don't have to earn what grace already gave. You don't need to qualify for what the cross already purchased. You don't need to convince God of what He's already declared. Right now, I want you to write these 4 words on a piece of paper. I claim my name. Simple words, yes, but they're shaking the foundations of hell, because once you truly understand who you are, the enemy's power over you disintegrates. As you write those words, you are stepping into something irreversible. Shame breaks, confusion lifts, doubt dissolves. Because the person who began reading this message is not the same person who will finish it. You are being transformed by revelation, and revelation always demands transformation. You are not a spiritual orphan. You have a Father who commands the seas, heals the sick, raises the dead, and calls you His own. No more identifying with failures. God doesn't see you through your past. He sees you through the victory of Christ. Do you understand the magnitude of that? You were never meant to live in the servants' quarters. You were created to dwell in the palace. And yes, you've walked through valleys, but not because you were abandoned. It was because you were being trained to rule. Let me show you what this looks like. Nelson Mandela, after 27 years in prison, emerged not bitter, but prepared to lead, to reconcile, to carry the weight of a nation's healing. He wasn't born to suffer, he was marked to govern. Helen Keller, blind and deaf, didn't ask for pity. She became an author, a speaker, an advocate, because what limited her body couldn't limit her purpose. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a German theologian who stood against the Nazi regime, was executed just weeks before the war ended. Why? Because he understood that obedience to God was more vital than survival. And Clara Barton, who founded the Red Cross, moved through war zones with courage while the world dismissed her as just a nurse. She was more than that. She was a rescuer, a reformer, a chosen one. Now, chosen one, let's go even deeper. Isaiah 48:6 declares, "From now on I will tell you of new things, of hidden things unknown to you." That means the veil is lifting, the scrolls are opening. Heaven is revealing mysteries that were previously locked, just for this moment. Not for everyone, for you. Your divine appointment cannot be postponed, rescheduled, or denied. So I ask, how many more signs do you need? How many times must God shake your world before you stop calling it chaos and start recognizing it as consecration? Your heartbreak wasn't random, it was preparatory. Your betrayal wasn't punishment, it was realignment. Every delay, every detour, every spiritual drought was carving out capacity for what's about to be poured in. Moses wandered 40 years before the bush burned. Joseph waited in dungeons before he touched royalty. David dodged spears and hid in caves before he sat on his throne. Their journeys weren't proof of rejection, they were proof of being readied. And now you stand where they once stood, on the edge of divine fulfillment. But God is not asking for perfection. He's asking for readiness, not a resume, a response. Some of you have been praying for decades, but when the answer comes, you stall. Maybe later, Lord. Maybe when I feel more prepared. But 2 Corinthians 6:2 says, "Today is the day of salvation, not tomorrow, today." What if God has been reserving certain assignments, releasing certain relationships, unlocking certain breakthroughs just for this season of your life? What if all the pain was the cost of carrying what others were never qualified to hold? But here's the hard truth. Not everyone reading this will walk through the door. Some will feel the fire in their chest, nod their head, and scroll away, but not you, because revelation demands response. Heaven is waiting, not to see if the promise is real, but to see if your belief is. When Mary heard the angel's message, she didn't debate, she didn't delay. She said, "Be it unto me according to thy word." That response opened the way for the Savior. Now heaven waits on your reply. The veil is tearing. The season is shifting. The time is now. So say it with me. Declare it out loud or type it as a seal. I'm ready to receive everything. This is not just a sentence. It is your burning bush moment, your Red Sea crossing, your Jordan River threshold. The heavens are watching, and what happens next will divide your life into before this moment and after. Chosen one, I need you to take a breath, not the shallow breath of someone just surviving, but a deep one that comes from finally realizing this moment was made for you. For decades, you've carried an identity that didn't belong to you. Not by willful choice, but by life's relentless blows. Every rejection, every betrayal, every time someone told you, that's enough, or you missed your window, or you're too old for this now. Those voices formed a heavy cloak of limitation, a cloak that never came from God. But heaven is speaking a different name over you today. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1:5. Think about that. Before your first breath, God already established your identity. Before you ever made a mistake, before anyone ever gave you a label, before a single person projected their fear onto your calling, heaven had already called you chosen. And that calling, it hasn't expired with time. It hasn't weakened with age. It hasn't faded with failure. It has only matured, refined, and deepened. So let me ask you something vulnerable, something piercing. When was the last time you truly recognized yourself in the mirror? Not just the features of your face, but the divine fire in your eyes, the holy purpose in your posture, the silent wisdom carved into every line time has etched into your skin. What if I told you those signs of age weren't decay, but evidence of divine refinement? What if every scar is a story of survival, every wrinkle a watermark of wisdom, and every grey hair a crown of perseverance? Do you really believe God let you live through all you've lived through just to fade into the background now? Let me say this as plainly as I can. That voice telling you your time has passed, that is a lie straight from the pit of hell. Because in God's timeline, some callings are just getting started when the world says they should be slowing down. Let me remind you who you really are. You are Moses, standing in front of a burning bush at 80 years old, just beginning the most impactful chapter of your life. You are Abraham, stepping into fatherhood when the world said your season was over. You are Anna, the prophetess who prayed and fasted for decades until she became the first to recognize the Messiah in the temple. You are not worn out, you are just getting warmed up. The dust of time is not burying you, it's being shaken off you. Those senior moments you've been worried about. Some of them aren't forgetfulness, they're spiritual downloads that your mind is trying to catch up with. What you've called limitations may actually be boundaries placed by heaven to protect your focus, your energy, and your fire. You weren't born to follow the crowd. You were anointed to lead them, not through titles or trends, but through wisdom soaked in experience and truth. You're not just a grandmother. You're a generational architect. You're not just a retiree. You're a spiritual general. You're not just an older person. You're a living testament of God's sustaining power. You are a bridge, a pillar, a sacred firekeeper in a world full of flickering lights. So why do you think you've survived? Why are you still standing when others have fallen? Because your assignment is not finished, and the world desperately needs what only you can give. Not your money, not your strength, but your prayers, your intercession, your spiritual authority. Psalm 92:14 says, "They will still bear fruit in old age. They will stay fresh and green." That's not poetic, it's prophetic, and it's about you. Your most fruitful season isn't behind you, it's being born right now. For too long, you've lived as a reaction to life. Health scares, financial shifts, loss after loss. But God is declaring over you today, you are not a reaction to life. You are the answer to the lives of others. The enemy told you to sit down, be quiet, shrink back. But the Spirit is saying, stand up, speak up, step in. That grandchild who seems unreachable, your prayers are already surrounding them. That division in your family, your wisdom holds the missing piece. That confused generation around you, they don't need another influencer. They need a voice like yours. Ezra 10:4 says, rise up, this matter is in your hands. We will support you, so take courage and do it. Chosen one, this matter is in your hands. You don't need permission to lead. You need conviction to own your assignment. Let me be clear, this isn't nostalgia. This isn't wishful thinking. That stirring in your spirit, that fire in your belly, that is your identity returning home. You were never forgotten. You were being positioned. You were never disqualified. You were being set apart. And now heaven is saying, it's time. Rise up and lead. Not from ego, but from obedience. If you know this word is for you, if something inside you is breaking free while something new is breaking through, then type it right now. I was created to lead. In this declaration, you're not bragging, you're aligning, you're not elevating yourself, you're accepting what God has already spoken over you. This isn't arrogance, this is agreement. The hour is late, the world is confused, the younger generation is searching, and heaven is not calling another celebrity, heaven is calling you. But with this awakening comes a question you can't ignore. What will you do with the divine authority God has placed in your hands? Because the clock has struck 7, and in the next 7 days, God is about to do something that will completely rewrite how you see yourself. Let me tell you what's about to happen. Not months from now, but within 7 days, you won't recognize yourself. Not because your appearance will change, but because your spiritual identity will finally be visible. What's been hidden is about to be revealed. What's been delayed is about to be released. Hebrews 11:30 says, by faith the walls of Jericho fell after the army had marched around them for 7 days. You're about to experience the same miracle, not because you fought, but because you obeyed. You've prayed, you've endured, you've wept. But now it's time to march. Why 7 days? Because 7 is the number of completion, the number of covenant, the number of divine order. You've waited long enough. And heaven has declared, this is the moment. Those walls, they're coming down. Those unanswered prayers, they're about to echo back with miracles. That shame, it's being replaced with spiritual confidence. Isaiah 60:22 says, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. And he is making it happen now. You're not walking into breakthrough slowly. You're entering a divine acceleration zone. What should take years will happen in months. What seemed impossible will unfold in days. But this miracle requires something of you, not because God needs your strength, but because your faith must participate. In Joshua 6, God could have knocked down the walls of Jericho without a single Israelite march. But he required movement before manifestation. So what's your march of faith? If you believe this is your 7-day transformation, do something bold. Share this message, write the date, speak it aloud. Don't wait until the evidence shows. Act while it still feels impossible. Hebrews 11:1 declares, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your 7-day breakthrough is already in motion. Angels are already dispatched. Provision is already being aligned. The walls of delay are trembling. This isn't just another video, it's your divine appointment with destiny, the moment you'll mark forever as, before this, I was hidden. After this, I was activated. Your 7-day countdown has begun. Not next week, not when you feel more ready. Now, what God is about to do in your life won't just change your surroundings, it's going to change you. Not in a superficial, temporary way, but in a way that redefines how you see yourself, how heaven sees you, and how the world will come to know you. You won't simply receive a blessing, you will become the blessing. You won't just get a breakthrough, you will be the breakthrough for others still waiting in silence, just like you once were. If you believe that, don't hesitate. Share this message now as your act of faith, not to boost a platform, but to signal the heavens and declare with boldness, I believe before I see. Your obedience today is intricately tied to your miracle tomorrow. And in the next 7 days, heaven is going to confirm your obedience with undeniable results. But as the walls of delay fall around you, and they will, you must understand something deeper. This moment is not just about what God is giving, it's about who He is revealing. You. Let me ask you a question that may pierce your soul. Have you ever felt like your prayers hit the ceiling and returned void? Like everyone else had direct access to God while your calls were left unanswered? Have you ever whispered into your pillow at night, wondering if God had moved on to someone more worthy? The enemy has done everything in his power to convince you that your silence was a sign of abandonment. But here is a direct word from heaven. My child, I have seen your sleepless nights. I have heard every whispered prayer. I have counted every tear. Psalm 56:8 confirms it. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. Let that sink in. Every tear. Not one evaporated into the void. Not one was wasted. They were collected, recorded, remembered, because they are sacred to God. That moment you cried in a locked bathroom so no one would see you fall apart. Heaven did. That night you stared at your ceiling, numb, too tired to speak. Heaven heard your silence as thunder. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared. The greater the warfare, the greater the weight of the anointing you now carry. Don't believe the enemy's last-minute lies. The intensity increased because your breakthrough is closer than it's ever been. The attacks sharpened because the enemy senses what's next, even if you can't yet see it. In the book of Esther, Mordecai posed a divine question that reaches across time to confront you now. Who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? This is your Kairos moment. You see, in Greek there are two kinds of time: Chronos, the measurable ticking of the clock, and Kairos, the appointed, divinely orchestrated window in which eternity touches earth. You've been living in Chronos. But now, heaven has interrupted your rhythm with Kairos. This is the moment where everything aligns, not accidentally, but by prophetic precision. Not everyone receives this invitation. Not everyone hears the divine call. But you have. Why? Because your name was written in the book of life before your first breath. Because your purpose has been echoing through eternity, and it's time for it to manifest in reality. Chosen one, hear this clearly. Heaven doesn't need your perfection. It needs your participation. It doesn't need your clarity. It needs your obedient yes. Just like Mary, who said, I am the Lord's servant. May your word to me be fulfilled. Just like Isaiah, who answered, Here am I, send me. Just like Noah, who built a ship before there was a cloud in the sky. Just like Elijah, who poured water on an altar right before fire fell. Can you feel it? That unexplainable certainty rising in your spirit, that fire being rekindled, that clarity breaking through the fog of confusion. That's not hype, that's not coincidence, that's the Holy Spirit confirming this word is for you. In over 40 years of ministry, I've rarely spoken this boldly, but I must now. What God is about to do in your life will redeem every trial, justify every sacrifice, and restore every stolen year. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the financial strain, the silent suffering, it wasn't in vain. It was preparation for public restoration. Jeremiah 29:11 reminds you, For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future, but that promise requires a yes. A full, unfiltered, unhesitating yes. You must step out of the boat like Peter, march around the wall like Joshua, stand before your Goliath like David. Why? Because your blessing is waiting on your obedience. The angels are on assignment. The heavens are watching. Will you say yes? If your spirit knows this message is for you, if something sacred is being resurrected inside you, comment right now. Yes, Lord, I say yes to my divine timing. Don't delay. Don't wait for another sign. This is the sign. Now let's get practical. Because God isn't just speaking into your spirit, He's also aligning your everyday life. Start a divine appointments journal. Every time something coincidental happens, a random call, a door opening, a stranger confirming your prayer, write it down. These are not coincidences. They're God's confirmations. Each morning, carve out 30 minutes of spiritual stillness. No phone, no TV, just you and heaven. Call it your heaven listening period. The world is noisy, but God's voice is clear if you create space to hear it. Reevaluate your digital boundaries, social media notifications, endless scrolling. These are the modern tools the enemy uses to keep your ears clogged. Silence the chaos so you can tune in to your kairos. Surround yourself with fellow warriors, not wanderers. Seek out people who understand divine timing. Pray together. Share your visions and watch how God uses community to multiply clarity. And finally, embrace this truth. Your age isn't a limitation, it's a weapon. Your wisdom doesn't disqualify you, it authenticates you. You don't look like what you've been through because God preserved you for now. Let me tell you about 4 individuals who didn't waste their yes. Grandma Moses didn't start painting until she was in her 70s. She became one of America's most celebrated artists after retirement. Colonel Sanders launched KFC after age 65. His past failures became the recipe for generational impact. Harriet Dorr published her first novel at age 74, winning national acclaim. Her delayed yes became a timeless legacy. John Glenn, at age 77, returned to space because destiny has no expiration date. Chosen one, this is your kairos. Not another motivational message, not another video. This is the moment heaven chose to intersect your life. So I ask one final time, will you say yes? Because when you do, your life will never be the same. You'll mark this day as the day your spirit awakened, your delays ended, and your destiny began to manifest. This is the day your countdown turned to convergence. 7 days from now, you will look back and say, that message wasn't a coincidence. That was the moment everything changed. Beloved chosen one, as we come to the end of this divine appointment, I want to thank you deeply for walking this journey with me. Your time is sacred, your attention is rare, and your spirit is precious to both heaven and this community. Whether you watch this with tears in your eyes or strength rising in your chest, I want you to carry one unshakable truth into the days ahead. You are not who the world said you were. You are who heaven declared you to be. Every valley you walked through, every burden you bore, every silent night where all you had were questions, none of it was wasted. It was all divine preparation for the doors God is opening before you now. You weren't buried by your struggle. You were planted, and now your season of breakthrough is blooming. I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to every one of you who has stood with this message, and especially to those who have supported this channel through Super Thanks. If you feel led to sow into this word, know that your gift helps us continue sharing messages like this around the world. But whether you give or not, hear me clearly. I am just as thankful for your presence as I am for any donation. You matter, you are seen, and you are loved deeply, not just by this ministry, but by the one who shaped your soul with his own hands. If this message touched your heart, I invite you to share it, to comment below, and to let your voice be a testimony. There is someone who needs to hear the fire that has just been reignited in you. And now, beloved, I speak a blessing over your life. May the Lord go before you in every step. May His favor surround you like a shield. May clarity come where confusion once reigned. May peace flood the spaces where anxiety tried to dwell. May your body be strengthened, your mind renewed, your spirit reignited. May new connections form, old wounds heal, and divine assignments unfold without resistance. You are not walking into this next season empty. You are walking in fullness, with angels assigned, promises confirmed, and heaven's wind at your back. From this moment forward, may you never doubt again. You were chosen, you are covered, and you are called for such a time as this. Until we meet again, may God bless you, may He keep you, and may His face shine upon you and give you peace, with love, honor, and unwavering faith in your future. Amen.